Well, let's go on back and bring in our first guest, Matt. Welcome to the show.
Very much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, my pleasure. All right, Matt, let's get into your background. Give us a little overview of what you do, and then let's talk about how you help people that you're connected to.
Well, I started off as a therapist, so my foray into financial services actually came from a very, very different perspective. I've never been an advisor. I got a job working with the largest coaching and consulting company for financial services professionals about 10 years ago, and that's really where I cut my teeth. And I'm telling you, doing 150 phone calls with advisors per month for 5 years was a heck of a learning experience.
Yeah, I'll say that, and a lot of time out of your life.
Yeah, it's something I really enjoy, though. I actually have a master's degree in coaching, which is something very rare in our industry, that I actually have the technique behind the industry knowledge. So, but it really did open up a lot of eyes and doors for me, because financial advisors, a lot of them have to do some therapeutic things, especially when it comes to communication, to really connect with their clients. And if your advisor's not doing that, it should be something you seriously think about.
Yeah, I agree with you. Communication is key in building relationships, and that's what they do. But what are the 4 biggest mistakes advisors make communicating, educating, and getting referred to new clients?
The biggest mistake that they make is that they're not where their clients are at the time their clients are there. That's the biggest mistake out of all of them. You have to be omnipresent and ever present because of our social media. Basically, involvement, 1 out of every 8 minutes is spent on Facebook when you're online, and that goes across pretty much every population and demographic. And financial services professionals have been very, very behind. And so getting a unique and real, genuine message about who you are, what you do, and what makes you different is so important to do when you're using social media. So if you're looking for businesses, you should be on LinkedIn. If you're looking for direct to consumers, then you really should be on Facebook. And if you're looking for a younger demographic that are very, very intelligent, and generally are more affluent, you do need to be on Twitter.
Okay, so you're saying that Twitter is really where you're going to find the affluent millennial?
Absolutely. And podcasting too, which is actually my second point here on communication, is millennials consume most of their education through audio or video. Mm-hmm. More people listen to music on YouTube than they listen to music pretty much anywhere else now. And so podcasting is something we really firmly believe from a top advisor marketing perspective. You should have a podcast as an advisor. You talk for a living. This is the perfect media for you. And most of us have faces for radio, not television, so it works out quite well.
Well, okay. Not every, and some of us have voices for print too, but let me drill down into that, because if you're going into the podcast world, and we do that ourselves, there are other things that you got to start splitting hairs with, and that is the amount of time that you should keep your podcast to. So you're developing a pattern to deliver the message the way new consumers are consuming it, and in what size bites, and open that up for. What have you found on that arena?
The ideal podcast length is surprisingly 26 minutes, and the reason why it's 26 minutes is that is the average commute for an American going to work.
Okay.
So it's been studied. So yeah, Michael, this is something that we really focus on. There are some really great long-form podcasts out there, but if you're especially going to talk about very detailed information, something that you want your clients to absorb, it needs to be 30 minutes or less, hands down.
What we were toying with is being able to bring out, say, a 15-second bite, a 30-second bite, a 60-second bite that leads to a deeper, say, 10-minute interview. Is that a format that you find is appealing to the younger, more affluent crowd?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you look at, I don't know how often you're on YouTube, but my children have got me absolutely addicted to it.
Yeah.
The commercials that I don't skip over are 15 seconds or less.
That's what I thought.
But if they're over 15 seconds, I don't want to watch it. And honestly, Michael, if you can't communicate your unique value proposition to me in 15 seconds or less, or convince me to buy something, then you know what? You're wasting my time.
Yeah, and you're not doing it right. I get it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're showing these advisors how to do, is how to really get it into a 15-second tease that leads them into something where they can drill down if they're their audience is actually interested in what they're talking about?
We definitely work on that. We coach our advisors to talk in sound bites, much like what you are comfortable with
Right.
in media, right? If I just started waxing philosophical for the next 15 minutes, your listeners are going to poke their eyes out. So, we want them to talk in nice bite-sized parts, in bits of information so that they're easily consumable.
What about people that just regurgitate other people's thoughts instead of creating their own leadership thoughts? Where do you go with that?
I shut them down as quickly as I possibly can. From a search engine optimization standpoint and from Facebook and LinkedIn algorithms, they get buried. That's one of the biggest problems in our industry, I believe, from a communication standpoint, and that would be point number 3, is they are not using their unique thought leadership. And that, to me, everybody does things just a little bit different, Michael. I mean, that's the best part about working with an independent financial advisor or an advisor who's in your area, who's a human being, is you want to know that human being. And so it's important for the advisor to get that human aspect of themselves out there.
What about making their brand clear and distinct?
Well, now, I just wrote an article on LinkedIn that kind of blew up because there were some massive arguments that happened because of it. Because that's where we're seeing the biggest problem in financial services. Most people are very lazy with their brand. They have no brand depth. They have no reason why people would connect with them, or their brand doesn't actually say anything. We believe that podcasting and the use of social media specifically can help you round out your brand, create some good brand depth, and have people come to you and want to buy your services instead of what used to happen 20 years ago, which is you as an advisor had to be a heck of a salesperson.
Well, that's true. What about brand consistency? Because that's some of the wrestling points. You have so many different ways to get it out there, but keeping the brand consistent, effective, and really engaging with a call to action. What about those points that we're bringing out?
That's why you don't do it yourself. You cannot. You have to hire a full-time person basically to make sure that you are being consistent across every media. And a lot of those medias now, Michael, have legs. So you post something on LinkedIn, somebody's going to take that and they're going to post it on Instagram, Snapchat. It's going to go on Google+, it's going to go on Reddit. And so if you don't have somebody controlling your brand message, and if you don't have a brand consistency message, like here's who we are, we call it a brand standard. If you don't have that and you're not having somebody focus when you're publishing that stuff, then you can go quite awry and confuse your clients and even prospects without a clear message.
Yeah, I have really enjoyed this conversation with you today, Matt. I want to invite you to come back. We'll drill down into some of these subjects we didn't have time for.
Cool. I appreciate you having me on the show, man. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Matt Halloran, Top Advisor Marketing, topadvisormarketing.com. We're going to go to a break right now. When we come back, we're going to come back with the Private Equity Spotlight and Ed Baxter of Bison Creek Capital. This segment brought to you by Lots of Yachts. We'll be right back.